Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Yissilmissil Productions channel. My name is Steven Yissel, and today, let's talk about it! Hope you're all having a great Sunday. We have Mother's Day today, so I wish everybody a happy Mother's Day, and thank you, Woo, for wishing everyone here as well. So, I have a few things to cover today. It depends on how much you want me to swing the wrecking ball around, so to speak. But I do have two subjects again to cover. Possibly three, if we'll get to that. But, or no, actually, there's four. There's four different things. So, for the end of today's show, we're going to look at a video clip from 1977 of Philip K. Dick. This is a clip that I've brought up before on this channel. And it's a testimonial, I believe it was in Japan, but it was of Philip K. Dick, explaining in 1977 that he believes that we're living in a matrix. Now, I did bring this up during my interviews with Tom Althouse. Tom said he's never heard of this, but he's also dismissed Ghost in the Shell and Dark City. Now, I have Ghost in the Shell to show here today. We're going to look at some clips. It was based off of a manga, which came out much earlier than the well-known movie. If I recall correctly, it was in 1988. I believe that is the case here. 89. So it was being worked on in 88. You know, this whole thing, I'm glad I reserved time on Sundays to do this, because I don't want to spend every single day of the week talking about this stuff. But that's why we're here. We're here to talk about it. And really, it's to see comparisons to other work prior to The Matrix that came out in 1999. It was being filmed in 1998. I believe it started filming in March of 98. But, yeah, I think this is going to be a very enlightening show, so to speak. But the very last clip for today will be the Philip K. Dick testimonial. And we'll watch that thing through its entirety. There's a 4-minute clip and there's a 40-minute clip. I guess it's not a clip if it's 40 minutes. But essentially, we're going to listen to what Philip K. Dick has to say. And really, he goes into detail about how he had a bunch of these dreams and visions, mostly dreams, that he ended up using to write most of his literature, his fictional work. And then he said he started having things happen to him that were happening in the dreams. It was happening to him in real life. So I think that was pretty interesting. But this is, again, something that was dismissed during my interview series, and it was never brought up again. I brought it up just to see if my guest recognized it, and he didn't, so that's whatever, right? But yeah, we'll get started here very shortly. I'm getting all of this put together. But yeah, Dark City. Surprisingly, I've never watched. And really, it was mostly because of the notoriety of the film Dark City being possibly the template for the Wachowskis. Not trying to take the limelight away from anybody claiming to write The Matrix, but Dark City was out there before The Matrix was shot. So, I'll let you guys come to your own conclusions, especially with what we see here. I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, we have androids in Ghost in the Shell, and so 1989, the spring of 89 is when Ghost in the Shell came out. And this is the cover of it. Now, I've been trying to acquire a copy of this manga, and I believe I will be able to get my hands on it, and I want to flip through this page by page and see what's in here, because this is essentially what the movie was based off of. Yeah, Jason, I don't understand it either. There's really no connection. There's no connection for somebody claiming to be a Hollywood screenwriter who's never discussed UFO encounters, experiences. He never shared any of that on my channel. He never spoke about it when I was in person with him. Never talked about UFOs. And yeah, Dark Horse Comics eventually made the English translation of this. So we have this here, and we also have, I'm just gonna look it up here right now for everyone. But we have Dark City. That looks very damning for everybody involved, saying that they're involved with the Matrix. Just watch this. We're gonna watch this without any. This is a trailer, but just watch the visuals here. It's uncanny. We have the green already, and we'll talk more about the green blip stuff and computers. We're gonna talk about that stuff. Don't worry. Thank you, Woo. See the opening of the eyes? I'll bring the music back in later, but I just want to watch this real quick here with all you. So there's an agent shot. There's flying ships. There's like a real world type of Zion place. There's a hat man that also, I mean, is essentially an agent. Levitation and reality, flashbacks, look, film noir type of stuff. We got. That was a Freddy Krueger reference there. There's Smith, there's the explosion, there's everything from Revolutions. This is 1997. Okay. Filmed in 97. But this topic was avoided like the plague in 22 interviews I did. No connections with names involved. I mean, look at all these. Look at those big names. And besides this, and I don't even want to start with her, him, whatever it is, because we don't know. But the log line here is a man struggles with memories of his past, which include a wife he cannot remember and a nightmarish world no one else ever seems to wake up from. So again, this is dealing with dream worlds. But yeah, back to Ghost in the Shell here. You know, we're gonna just do a general image search. Yeah, the main thing I wanted to show with Ghost in the Shell here was like the front cover has all the. You have not only the jacks in the neck, but you have jacks all throughout the body, like the pods. But it's an android, partial android. I have not read it. I have not watched the film. So that's my own ignorance. This kind of reminds me of that Charlize Theron adaptation as well, you know? I think it's fairly similar to that too. Oh, Aeon Flux. Maybe that's another one to. Alright, we're not going to venture too far off of what I planned here today, but I just want to see when this came out. November 91. November 91 to 95. Aeon Flux is an American adult animated avant-garde science fiction adventure television series that aired on MTV from November 30th, 1991 until October 10th, 1995. It premiered on MTV's Liquid Television experimental animation show as a 6-part serial, followed in 1992 by 5 individual short episodes. And then in 1993, there was a TV series called The Matrix with Carrie Ann Moss in the UK. There's only a few people in the world that have every single episode, including the director that doesn't want to release them all, which I still don't understand here. If you're the creator of something called The Matrix from 93 that stars Carrie Ann Moss, you think you'd want to have that whole thing out into the world. In fact, that guy should actually be running to go try to get the rights from Warner Brothers and sue him in court for that shit. But I had gone under the impression that Carrie Ann Moss brought the title of The Matrix to the Wachowskis because she worked on the TV series in 93. 5 years prior to them filming. Yeah. Yeah, there is a 2017 adaptation of Ghost in the Shell 2. I avoided it all like the plague, man. I just didn't want to look into it because I didn't start with the first one. I just completely blew off the second one. Now, this Aeon Flux one, it's, let's just read the plot real quick. Because I was also forced to read into this too at Columbia College Chicago when I mistakenly took a female film history class with a feminist teacher, which I left the class in the first week. Like, I didn't go back. I dropped the class. Because all we were going to do for like 15 weeks is just study female directors' scripts. It's all about female empowerment. Like, that's not for me. Like, I want to actually study film, not do this whole pat each other on the back bullshit. But here's the plot for Aeon Flux. It's set in surreal German expressionist style future. The setting depicts a bizarre dystopia populated by mutant creatures, clones, and robots set within two city states, separated by a border wall and an otherwise barren Earth-like world. So again, we have a very similar setting to what the Wachowskis used for The Matrix, where the world's barren and everybody's sectioned off. I mean, you have Zion underground in The Matrix. You got this here. They're living on the surface, apparently. The title character is a scantily clad dominatrix slash secret agent. And again, the Wachowskis love using the dominatrix motif. And their name is Monica, skilled in espionage, assassination, and acrobatics. She infiltrates and sabotages installations, which is led by her sworn enemy and sometime lover. So you get the idea. It's basically like cyberpunk Jason Bourne in a way. And I'm just giving generalities here because I'm not diving deep into this stuff. We're skimming the surface. Hey Jay, good to see you here. So we're covering today. I should probably put a list on the screen. We're covering Ghost in the Shell. We're covering Dark City. And we're covering a 1977 video interview in what looks like a courtroom, but I think it's like a press conference, with Philip K. Dick explaining this concept of an artificial reality in 1977. And you see what the Hollywood film industry has done with Philip K. Dick since his passing. Obviously, there's Minority Report, I, Robot, A Scanner Darkly, which, surprisingly, with Keanu Reeves again. But you have to take all of these bits of information and put it together. And come to your own conclusions. Have discernment. Don't blindly follow the guests that I bring on here, I guess is what I'm saying. But it's all good for like following due diligence, making sure the facts are there, and not avoiding topics. Like these topics we should have talked about, but we didn't. Yeah, Philip K. Dick had a lot of dreams that he ended up turning into these films or into these works of fiction with his books. And really the Hollywood film industry ran away with they went far away from what he was trying to do, I think. At least if he was still alive when some of those films were made, he probably would have made them differently. And, yeah. One more thing we'll look up before we get back to Ghost in the Shell. We are going to look up Minority Report. Because I want to see what the... Yeah, it was a novella. So it wasn't even a full book. And so again, this was written in 1956. 1956 he wrote this. 1977 he came out to the public with a video interview saying that he believes we live in an artificial reality. But at the same time, he said he can't prove whether that's true or not, so he could speak freely on the topic regardless without any impunity, so to speak. So we already know this whole this story, but like the name is John Anderton. It's the same as the movie. The book and the movie, it has the same thing. So, okay, that's enough with that. Because now I would like us to uh, take a look at Dark City. Man, this is going to be a trip. I'm just letting you know here. All right. So we're just going to let this play. No audio. In fact, we're going to turn the music back on. And let me know if this music is too loud or too soft. But we're just going to sit here. We're going to skim through this film. So this is Dark City from 1998. So again, it was released in 1998. It was filmed in 97. Possibly earlier. It could have gone into 96 a little bit. But this movie has the shot of like 3 agents. It has the woman in black hair. It has a phone booth scene. It has somebody calling the main character, telling him that people are coming after him and he needs to run away, just like the scene with Neo in his office and Morpheus calling him on that phone and him having to escape. But very film noir, very cyberpunk. And Kiefer Sutherland, like, come on. Oh, a clock, look at that. Clocks are universally used. It's just a fact. They're universally used. You could imprint your own versions of what you think these clocks all mean, but that one was showing 12, right? Then you got these spirals, which are all talked about with like the trafficking shit. What are we to think? But that's why we're here. We're here to discuss ideas. Look at this hotel shot, just like in the beginning of The Matrix. You're telling me this wasn't done on purpose by the Wachowskis? And what's inside here? Is this Trinity? A lot of green. And obviously it's not Trinity. But you have like the eye shots, you have the waking up. He's kind of in a pod if you want to stretch it that far. And I do have the subtitles on so you can see what's happening. Or what's being said. Now really, I don't know. I don't know why Tom didn't want to talk about this. Is it because it takes attention away from his hustle? I don't know what to say about that. Yes, Jay. Yes, I do believe they were both made in Australia. Oh, and by the way, I don't know. I don't know why I have to censor myself. I'm not censoring myself, but like I'm being very choice about what I say today because we got we got these trolls, we got these other silent watchers here that are reporting back to their boss or whatever. I don't give a shit at this point. These people can stay in their own dream world, so to speak. Should I bust them out? They like to stay in their dream worlds. You see? They went back. They plugged themselves back in. And here we are on the outside looking at them inside. So we're getting close to this. Oh man, I probably shouldn't be showing nudity here. But we're getting very close to the scene where he is called. And you see they use the shots of apartment the apartment numbers on the doors. Running down. Here we go. The 3 agents. You see this? You see this? And all the clocks are at midnight for some reason. Yeah, Penny's 11 and Tom is Neo and 11 plus 1 is 12. But all the clocks say 12. Oh my god. I'm done. I'm done speculating. We are looking into the facts here. This is actually a really well shot movie. You have all of these very very well-known film techniques that they're using. A lot of just symmetrical framing. This is fantastic. Uh-oh. Alright, I think I hit the threshold. We have a warning from YouTube. So I'm not going to be able to monetize this now. I don't care. We're looking at content here. We're looking to review. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that. I guess we'll find out later, right? Alright, we'll get back to this shortly. But I wanted to just briefly go over that. And the shot of the 3 agents is incredible. Because it brings up more questions. I want to know what's going on. Wow. I wonder if they were going to cut my stream if I continued playing that. Well, I don't really care. I'm doing a review. I'm not showing this movie in its entirety. This shot looks like what I saw in the trailers for Part 4 Matrix, which I also have never watched. But I do plan on doing so. This is Let's Talk, right? So real quick, I am going to show what I've been working on for new shows coming up on the channel. And I think you all are really going to like this. So this is a thumbnail for a new show that I plan to start. And essentially, what I want to do is review films, both good and bad. A bad film that I'll probably throw in here is Crank 2. Crank 1 was one of my favorite movies at one point. Just because of the out-of-the-box way that movie came across. And I couldn't stop laughing in the theater at that one. But Crank 2 made me so furious. And I didn't want to finish watching it, but I had this whole thing back in college where I'm like, I need to finish watching a movie no matter how bad it is. So I was very choosy with what I watched because I knew I'd watch all the way through. And now I just don't watch much of anything, especially with all of this stuff. I just saw a clip the other day of this, what is it, The Last of Us? Where they have the chick protagonist like firing off hundreds of bullets out of a handgun with probably maybe you could probably get 12 to 15 capacity on that at most, but she's just spraying it like a machine gun. There's people on Twitter that were asking, hey, is this AI generated image? And no, apparently it wasn't. And I'm surprised that the show is still going on considering all the backlash that it got. Yeah, Jay. Transporter was excellent. And part 2 was really, it was a phone-in. It seems to happen a lot with these. But yeah, I want to review films that I've studied extensively. And I guess I'll just name a short list off. They Live with Roddy Piper by John Carpenter. The Matrix Trilogy, and maybe the fourth one, just so that we could describe how terrible it is. And we'll get it. The whole thing is we'll get it out of our system and move on. And that's why I have this titled Hollywood Detox. And then the good stuff, I mean, I want to review The Truman Show, which I have some earlier versions of the script here. What else? I don't know, but that was the first few. They Live, Truman Show, The Matrix Trilogy. And that's enough to get started. But that was this has been something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And before I could review the Matrix Trilogy, I need to get the rest of this stuff out of the way that we're doing here, so that I could properly critique it. I mean, another way I could do this is just objectively review, and that way we end up having something of like an honest critique of the very first Matrix, and then how the other two sequels kind of meshed in, but it really seems phoned in at this point. So we're going to show one more time this agent shot and then we'll skip around a little bit. You see we have the needle with the injectable. And I would say this is an agent. Like, how could you say it's not? And there's 3 of them. Now, we also have to consider here that there are motifs that are duplicated, replicated. There's a book by Joseph Campbell called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And it goes over how Star Wars used this template, how Harry Potter used this template. So it's not like they're making anything like 100% original on their own. All of this content creation is borrowed from other things. A very blatant one that's almost infringing on copyright is Vanilla Ice. Using Ice Ice Baby, the riff from, Under Pressure? So you just have to... Oh no. Give me a second here. Are we still live? Oh, I believe we're back. Are we back? Let me know if it's back up. You guys should all still be here. Okay. Very good. I see that we're live again. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? I can't show the Dark City footage on here without them losing their minds. I wonder if that has something to do with the people that say I'm all of a sudden the evil one here. Oh my gosh. Again, if anybody out there is hate watching and you're just reporting my streams and trying to take my videos down, like, it's not gonna happen because I got all these other platforms to use. Hey Zen. Well, that was interesting. I can't show footage from Dark City, apparently. You know what I think I'll do is just skip around. How about that? I'm not even I'm not even playing the audio. Not even playing the audio here. I'm not allowed to critique this. That's how sensitive all of these people are here. There's a lot of this spiral circle thing happening in this movie, and I wonder what's going on with that. But you see the color palettes? The Wachowskis just... I want to say they stole the color palettes from this. Because how could you say they didn't? Look at this. Color palettes are look at... So again, when the Wachowskis had their graphic novel made of the Matrix, the original one, they hired a storyboardist. And they were the ones that were doing all the tiny details of all the plugs and everything, all the cables running in the ships. And you know what the Wachowskis did? They just said, "Oh yes, that's exactly what was in my minds, or in our minds." So in that respect, I say the Wachowskis just bullshitted and said that this artist that created this amazing, like, look and visuals for the Matrix, they just said that, "Oh yeah, that's what was in our heads. What this artist just created for us." Like, no tweaking of the material. Not like, oh, there's too many cables, do a few less. That's not how I envisioned it. They just straight up said, "Oh yeah, that's exactly what it was." So that I'm not too happy with. And see, we got more of this visual motif here from Matrix Reloaded, when Smith shows up to give Neo his earpiece. "I'm unplugged." Right? I'm pretty sure. Oh, gotta. So I guess this is a fingerprint. That spiral circle thing. So you see here, elevated train. I'm going to try to make this play as slow as possible. Because they clearly don't like me playing this at regular speed with no sound. Because my stream got caught, and thankfully it came back. So we're learning here. Yeah, see, it's not even playing now. Thank you, Jay. Yeah, I guess I am. I'm making it hard for them to rewrite everything, right? Because at a certain point, people aren't going to be, like, watching this stuff. They're not going to be digging into this stuff like I am here. Alright, I'm going to have to reload this because I really messed it up by changing around the speed on this. Alright, so YouTube doesn't like me showing this playing at normal speed without sound. So we're gonna have to skip around. But you see, we have the elevated train, just like the Wachowski used the Chicago location. It didn't say that specifically in the final cut, but you hear the street Wabash when Neo's on the phone trying to escape the Matrix at the end. He's running through the market, and like all the apples and oranges and peaches are flying around. But heavy film noir, femme fatale. You got the underworld people here practically. Oh, look at that, the lady in red. Look at that, lady in red. So I'm more convinced at this point, or at least a perspective that holds more weight with visual and physical evidence is that the Wachowskis borrowed a heck of a lot from this one. Yeah, Jason, this is fair use, but they're trying to cut it off, thinking I'm like streaming this for free and uncensored. Like, no, I'm not. I'm talking over this. There's music playing. So I don't know what they're doing. Look at that. Jumping on rooftops. Which, by the way, that's like shot for shot of the opening of The Matrix. And this isn't anywhere in the beginning for Tom's script, okay? It's not there. They're running in a jungle. They're doing something completely different. They're not running away from agents and shit. Okay? But look at this. The agent character back again. Yeah, YouTube has this stupid rule where you have, and I'm sorry, YouTube, but it is kind of silly here. And now they're gonna cut me off. Hey, can you let me speak, please? Can you let me speak? They have this rule that they don't follow with every channel. You have these other content creators that go and show long clips. I'll sit here and wait. Hopefully it'll come back on. YouTube, you allow people 5 seconds of video play, including audio, but you're hitting this stream. I'm not using any audio from what I'm critiquing. I'm showing visuals, clips. I'm not showing it in its entirety. All right, we're back. We're back. Just hold on. Okay. So you see this? The thing I'm not supposed to talk about, I get hit. YouTube has policies that you can show clips. And it's fair use because we're doing a critique. Critique of something that's almost freaking 30 years old. 28-year-old, 27-year-old film. And you know, YouTube needs to clean up its detection of these violations because there's errors in it. There's 120-year-old films that are out of copyright that I get hit with on Saturday shows. That other people are claiming that they own the content, which they do not. It's in the free domain. The Lumiere brothers, all of that stuff. It's at a museum, right? But, yeah, I had some other YouTube channel try to claim copyright on some of the Lumiere brothers clips. The one of the Chicago police officers marching down. It's only a 2-minute clip. Silent, too. Let's see here. It's like the moment I started critiquing YouTube policy, then they cut the stream. I didn't even get my thought out, and they just cut it. There's other channels that are given much more leniency. This right here. See that? That got, like, I can't show the whole thing. It's a 120 years old film. Yeah, Jay, I think we do need to have an in-person convention at some point. Because this is getting ridiculous. Like, how can I not show stuff and talk about it? Like, I'm just going to show stills. If they keep... I should be able to show stills. Holy crap, Jay. Thank you. Jay's here with the super chat of 1999. The year of the Matrix, 1999. Thank you, Jay. You're really helping me out here. Yeah, so this is an image that was in the trailer as well. Yeah, Jay's been really supportive here. He is the top super chat contributor here, and I really appreciate it. I'm actually getting a payout in 10 days from Google, so thank you. And yeah, YouTube has this Google AdSense payout where it's once a month, but it has to be an accumulative $100 before it pays out. And it hasn't paid for me since October. So that was the last time I got paid for having this YouTube channel. October. And I mean, we've shown clips on here before, so I'm not sure what's the issue today. It might be some AI thing, but we're not doing anything wrong here. But you can see the color palette is very, very, very similar to the Wachowskis. And you have the Neo Trinity dynamic here. See, if I start playing the video, they're just gonna hit it again, aren't they? So we'll look at a few more stills. And then we'll move on to Ghost in the Shell to look at some of those stills. Oh, look at this. An ending with a sunset like Matrix Revolutions. Yeah, I had a strike on the channel a few years ago when I was doing board meeting videos, but basically what it said was like YouTube agreed with the parents that were talking, that the content of the books in the children's department in all of these schools were not appropriate to be read out loud in public, but yet they were sitting on the front shelves for children, prepubescent children, to get books learning how to be sexually active and how it's okay. All the narrative that you hear, like, oh, you can be whatever you want to be. Sorry, no, that What that meant 30 years ago is not what they're trying to make it mean today. Yes, you can pursue your dreams and do anything you want to do, but you cannot change who you are physically here without a lot of hard work and effort. And I mean, you cannot change your bones. So when all of us are long gone, this whole pronoun game thing, it's going to be meaningless. I'm sorry to say. Like, factually, the archaeologists are going to look at the bones and they're going to determine whether you were male or female. And I'm not saying that to hurt anybody's feelings. This shot here actually makes me think that the Wachowskis were pulling from Dark City a lot more so than from anywhere else. But what they didn't do was have Smith kidnap Trinity. Wouldn't that have been something? But they ended up doing that with the Bane character. So the physical manifestation of Smith in the real world was him basically murdering a freed man that was named Bane. And he got overwritten inside the Matrix, and then when they jacked out, here he is. It's Smith in the real world. And what is he doing the whole time? He's cutting himself. Sorry. Again, for the people out there that used to say, or said just a few weeks ago that I am the Bane character in this story, I am sorry, but no, I don't go and do that. I don't do that, and I don't recommend anybody to do that. I'm an advocate in suicide prevention. But as far as Bane goes, Smith has never felt pain like cutting. So when he was Bane, the physical manifestation in the real world, he was fascinated by the pain because he never felt it before. And that's why you see him looking at his arm and it's all caught up and everything. There was so much more they could have gone into with that they didn't. They touched on stuff briefly and then moved on to something else. Almost like they had too many concepts that they wanted to play around with and they didn't get to really let it marinate. Oh yeah, Smith ends up kidnapping Morpheus. You're right, Jay. And Jason, so if you have the link, I'd like you to email that to me, what you just said. And you could send it directly to my Gmail. And this is my public email account. So if you have the link, you could send it there. You should be able to share it in the chat. But if not, no worries. Oh, and here we go with the 11 symbolism again. So, I have many stills of Hollywood films that have 11 symbolism. They most times use the pillars like this. And I've reached the conclusion that it is a Freemason thing. So, Christopher Nolan's used it. The Blues Brothers used it. A few other films that I'm not remembering at the time right now. But it was used in Dark Knight, Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Bound. of all movies. That first Wachowski film has the 11 symbolism in it. Close-up eye shot. So I have to ask, why hasn't Tom mentioned this or gone after people with this? And Tom, if you're watching right now, I hope that you're taking this in. Because this film highly influenced what the Wachowskis put out. If not, they straight up took from it. The three agents again. Jay, yeah, no worries. You can email me too. I'll put it back up again. Yeah, I want you guys to interact with me. I'm for the longest time I was speaking into the void, and thankfully you guys showed up. Like, I don't know, I'll still say that I'm blacklisted. This stream got cut off 2-3 times. But I'm recording everything through OBS, so everything that had downtime, it'll most likely go up on the re-upload. This is going to be an interesting episode, though. We don't know how long it's going to stay up. They're not too happy with me showing this, though, today. Okay, so that's enough of Dark City. Now, to go back even further in time, in 95, we have Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell. Oh, man in suits. Who would have thought? Oh, Brain Jacks. Neuralink? Oh, here's something I wanted to talk about, and thank you, Zen, for bringing this up earlier. Tom Althouse claims to have created Neuralink. That was his idea. And I've been doing the whole deep dive series in the Chicago film industry with Thomas Edison, and it goes into everything with how he had somebody steal one of his inventions and patented it first. They got the patent on it before Edison could. It pissed him off. So he ended up doing it to other people. It ended up being this whole thing where if he saw money to be made with certain inventions that he came across that other people showed him, they're like, hey, look, I made this. I just created this. Nobody really knows about it. He would go take that invention and patent it. And eventually he was making all of these movie theaters using projectors. They made it essentially a law that they had to use Edison's projectors or they could not show films. And then he even went so far as to, like, there was piracy going on back in the 1890s. There were films overseas that were being brought in through New York. And Edison was really pissed about that too. So he started saying that he made it a law that you could get fined too if you were showing these pirated movies. But essentially, he made it so that only his films could be shown at the movie theaters on his projectors. So not only can they only use his projectors, but they can only screen his films. And he made a monopoly out of it. And I think that's where he gets a lot of the flack from, because he tried to control the birth of large audience movie theater going experiences. But there were like 3 or 4 different types of individual rotoscope type of things where you just put your eyes into this box and then you hand cranked the film strip to go through. And one of the flaws with that was people would get pickpocketed while they were going and distracted doing that. So they wanted to make it where, or actually the Lumiere brothers' father brought this device to his kids, to his twin sons, and he's like, try to take that image out of the box. And that essentially made the projector. So there were all of these people, there were more than one that were experimenting with projection and film projection and different film formats, different sizes of film. I know that like 70 millimeter was kind of made just to circumvent the whole Thomas Edison only thing, with only showing his work. But the reason I'm saying all of this right now while we're looking at this picture on the screen is because Tom Althouse is going to these UFO conferences to then go and complain about how Elon Musk stole Neuralink from him and his script. Let me tell something to Tom here, as well as all of you. But if you have an idea or concept that you put into a script, that you claim the idea came from God, that you weren't even writing it, that God wrote it through you, firstly, that tells me you don't have the talent that you're speaking of, and that you're... I attribute a lot of things to the Father Creator. Okay? All glory to God. But I'm also aware that I am a creator myself. That I do things, I invent things, I create things. I could write, I could speak, I could make a visual presentation like this. Not everybody can do this. That's talent, that's skill. So, why am I speaking about this? Tom claims that he is the one that created Neuralink. Show me the schematics. Show me what you were going to patent with all of that stuff. Now, he's never going to do that because this was a concept or idea, and here we're seeing it in a 1995 film. He claims he has a 93 script, a 91 script. I don't know how many scripts he's pulling out of his ass the past few weeks since we started this series, but that's the timeline. When I started Let's Talk, he started saying people were breaking into his house, but without any, like, no damage to the house, right? Someone snuck into my house and put missing pages of the script on my bed. That's what he claims. That someone broke in and gave him his own script back. And not only that, but like multiple copies. All of a sudden. Okay? That leads in... Oh, okay, so before I jump ahead here. He says there's a bunch of matchups between the Immortals and the Matrix. He goes to these UFO conferences and says that Elon Musk stole Neuralink from him because he wrote he came up with the idea of Neuralink and used it in his script, The Immortals. This is what Tom is going around claiming to this day. And that's the thing he's most heavily promoting is Neuralink, 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 Elon Musk, Elon Musk. He's using those buzzwords to give relevancy to his name. Now, I'm speaking like this because how can you claim that you made something that would involve schematics and knowing circuitry, general circuitry? This dude can't even figure out how to make a VPN work on his own computer. I used to say that it was the absent-minded genius effect, where like a savant in one thing with the screenwriting, but tongue sticking out of their mouth, nothing going on upstairs for the rest of the time, type of deal. And I'm speaking in general. You have like the absent-minded professor effect, that type of thing. That's awesome, Jay. Jay is saying Ghost is magical. Ghost in the Shell is magical, and he's seen it 100 times. This is my first time looking at this. Besides, in passing, seeing a few different things here and there. I'm gonna have to go into this and look at it. But the manga, I think that's going to be a lot better for us to dissect, because we're not watching moving images that this platform does not like. But Jay, I'm sure you know of a lot of similarities with this movie and series because it was originally a comic, and The Matrix. And the only reason The Matrix was a comic first, or a graphic novel, is because they hired the screenwriter to basically make one like that. So again, all of this stuff was never covered in the interviews of the past. The 22 interviews I did with Mr. Althouse. It's just unfortunate. But ain't that something, the beginning? I mean, the green motif is just all over here. Alright, so we have that. Now we're going to go back even further. And we are going to check out Philip K. Dick. Hold on. We're going to watch the short version of it. And, I mean, the full version is out there. But again, Tom Althouse did not want to look at this. He expressed no interest in it. Sadly. Alright, you guys should be able to hear it.
It's okay. It's okay. The subject of this speech is a topic which has been discovered recently.
By the way, this is from 1977.
And which may not exist at all. I may be talking about something that does not exist. Therefore, I'm free to say everything or nothing. I, in my stories and novels, often write about counterfeit worlds, semi-real worlds, as well as deranged private worlds, inhabited often by just one person, while meantime the other characters either remain in their own worlds throughout or are somehow drawn into one of the peculiar ones. This theme occurs in the corpus of my 27 years of writing.
I'm going to have to stop and start this. So it's 4.5 minutes. But, yeah, we'll continue here.
At no time did I have a theoretical or conscious explanation for my preoccupation with these pluriform pseudo-worlds, but now I think I understand. What I was sensing was the manifold of partially actualized realities lying tangent to what evidently is the most actualized one, the one which the majority of us, by consensus gentium, agree on. Later.
So he's given a preface here to this concept that he's about to share with this audience, which I want to say all of them had never considered this concept at the time that he was speaking about it.
That day, back home again, but still deeply under the influence of the sodium pentothal, I had a short, acute flash of recovered memory. Then, in mid-March, a month later, the total body of memories, intact and entire, began to return. You are free to believe me or to disbelieve, but please take my word on it that I am not joking. This is very serious, a matter of importance.
So I like that he says, you know, you could choose to believe me or not, I don't care, but this is what it is. We don't hear that from certain individuals, do we? It's either you believe me or you're the enemy, right? That's what you're saying, Tom. You either believe me or you're the enemy. That's what you're saying to everyone. Which also, I heard that there was a problem with Carrie Cassidy. I tried to warn you, pal. I tried to warn you. I told you Cliff High worked with her, with Carrie Cassidy. Cliff High says she's no good. She's gone off the rails with the whole AI thing because she's attributing that AI can gain consciousness and host a spirit inside the construct of it. So Cliff High doesn't believe that's the case. Cliff High has studied AI and algorithms going back to the 90s. I'll take his word for it over Cassidy's. But this was Tom himself going into this Carrie Cassidy thing in Florida with David Childers. I don't know why he's going to the UFO conference. The dude hasn't had anything to do with UFOs as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, Carrie Cassidy's now at odds with Tom. Who would have thought? Yeah, Cliff High. CLIFHIGH. He has a Substack. He's also on Twitter, but he makes most of his posts on Substack. He likes to do a lot of writing. So what he did was he basically made like a word analyzer and event predictor. Like, I don't know how to explain it. There's a much better explanation of it, but he essentially is taking like the entire lexicon of the human language and mostly English, but he's seeing words that are trending and how that like affects the future. And there was also other events that did come to pass that he had predicted previously. So, yeah, Cliff High is a really interesting character. And I say that with admiration. Like, I don't mean to actually call him a character. He's a real person, okay? as far as I'm concerned.
At that time, I had no idea what I was seeing. It resembled nothing that I had ever heard described. It resembled plasmic energy. It had colors. It moved fast. It collected and then dispersed. But what it was, what he was, I am not sure even now. In other words, it's a common theme in my writing that
I have to be careful here.
a dark-haired girl shows up at the door of the protagonist and tells him that his world is delusional, that there's something false about it. Well, this did finally happen to me.
$1977.
I even knew that her hair would be black. I had an actual complete sense of what she would look like and what she would say.
Sounds like Philip K. Dick here had a Neo moment and an encounter with a Trinity character, which he explains here. He had a dream about this, he wrote it into his books, and then it actually happened to him.
She did appear, she was a total stranger, and she did inform me of this fact, that some of my fictional works were in a literal sense true. I wrote out these dreams in novel after novel, story after story. To name two in which this prior ugly present obtained most clearly, I cite The Man in the High Castle and my 1974 novel about the U.S. as a police state called Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said. I'm going to be very candid with you.
Again, I am pausing so that we fully analyze this.
I wrote both novels based on fragmentary residual memories of such a horrid slave state world. People claim to remember past lives. I claim to remember a different, very different present life. I know of no one who has ever made this claim before, but I rather suspect that my experience is not unique. What perhaps is unique is the fact that I am willing to talk about it. We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.
Can you believe it? This is exactly what the Wachowskis inserted into The Matrix, where they, in The Matrix, whoever is running it, the machines, when they change something in The Matrix, there's a deja vu that happens, and there's the black cat that passes by Neo twice. It's so obvious that that's exactly what this is. And there's also the whole thing with the Mandela effect, but that's probably for another day. But ain't that something? So that was a 4.5 minute clip from what is a 40 plus minute speech that he gives. And he goes into a little more detail with all that. But it just makes you wonder. He said there, as far as he knew at that point in time in 1977, nobody else had made these claims that he just made there. Yet, 22 years later, these same concepts come up in the Wachowskis' film. I mean, we were saying earlier that The Matrix is probably a hodgepodge of many ideas. I mean, they openly admit that they used Alice in Wonderland. My previous guests, such as Althouse, has denigrated these people's names. He's talked badly about a lot of people, okay, but he has not really. He doesn't like discussing events and ideas. He loves talking about other people, though. I mean, you guys know, you saw that last a few Let's Talks ago. I showed that notebook that I put together. All the names that he mentioned, most of the people he talks about, it's in a negative light. So what does that say? And that brings us to our next thing I wanted us to look at, because I think it's important. So, 13 months ago, when I visited Tom Althouse at his house in Texas, I had recommended to him to make his website URL his name, tomalthouse.com. Immediately, he told me he thought that was too conceited. He didn't want it to be like that about him. He thought that people would think lowly of him using that. Now, I have StephenYissel.com. It redirects to YissilmissilProductions.com. I told him, dude, like that, you need to use your full name so that you can have a landing page. He did not like the idea. At the same time, he was just getting introduced to what I believe is one of his handlers right now, Jen, who he was talking on the phone with upstairs much longer period of time than he was actually spending time working with me. Okay. So eventually, I want to say in the fall, he got this URL. He got tomalthouse.com. He attributes the credit to Jen for coming up with the idea, but I'm the one that told him to use his full name. So I was told that his let's see here. I was told that his website had matchups on it, right? Like he's saying that in his interviews. Go to my website, the matchups are there. Sweet. Let's find them. Matchup database coming soon. Let's see. Where does it go? There's a link here. And there's nothing. No side-by-side comparisons. And this has been up for over 6 months. All this chick did was make a landing page for him. Put Roseanne's interview there. Let's look at the tabs real quick. Oh, look at that. He got a bunch of Sundance awards for nothing. Using the Sundance leaves. That'd be funny if I upload this show and send it to him, right? What's my story? Hey, Tom, this is my story. Check this out. Watch my video. No, he'd never open it. Say, oh God, he's trying to bring me down. No, man, I'm on this route now that you pushed me through. So here again, his share page. Not sure who Sasha Stone is. But here you go. You got handler number 1. Got handler number 2. Penny. Not sure about this. No idea how old this screenshot is. He didn't even take a timestamp on it. Again, Penny the handler. Again, Penny the handler. Here's all his TikToks. Most of them are of his Roseanne show, which hosts that he does not speak to any longer helped get him on, along with John B. Wells. I helped him get on John B. Wells. I gave him the phone number to call, and he called him. You can't say I didn't help him get on that show. He wouldn't have ever found the number to begin with, because he's so unorganized. And yeah, a lot of these conventions and stuff, like just watch, just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Be careful of who you associate here with. Oh, Jason, I don't think anybody's seen Tom Althouse writing. He claims that his skills come from God. Like, he was transcribed, like God was speaking through him when he wrote the Immortals. So, like, he doesn't have any writing talent whatsoever then, right? It was God doing it. Or was it a demon saying it was God? Oh, where did that script come from? I guess I wrote it. Yeah. He's having scripts just randomly pop up in his house. How does that happen? And after this series started of Let's Talk, oh my God, I got the 96 script. I got the 95 script. I got the 94 script. I got the 93. Okay, dude, go back to court then. Find an attorney that'll help you for nothing. If you really think this is such a slam dunk case. The documentary. Dude, he was talking about making a documentary was in the works before I met him. And then he was assigning me to do it, flew me out, and then he switched up the game and said, no, we're writing a book now. I don't want to do a documentary here. Well, just, okay, like, what am I supposed to say? But I agreed to do the book. And then he turned one book into 4. And I really think he was trying to overwhelm me and make me quit. But me not being a quitter, I said, okay, let's tackle this. And then he just kind of let the idea just fall off, just like every other thing that he's done. Where's John B. Wells interviewing him? Where's the second Roseanne Barr interview? They're not going to happen. Okay? They're not going to happen. It's just how it is. Oh, but he will make red and blue pill memorabilia for people to purchase, because he doesn't have any work. He doesn't work. He's living off the government right now. The very same government that he says is out to kill him. But this is a really hodgepodge job of, they made some graphic in Photoshop and then they're just slapping this shit up on Etsy. All right? And he was promoting this ornament thing for quite a long time. And this is all after, like, he cut ties with me. Now he's, like, trying to monetize this whole thing. So, firstly, if you see here, he is using the photo of the pills from the Matrix 4 website, the Warner Brothers Wachowski red pills from the 4th Matrix film. He's using those images in these products that he is selling to make a profit on. Tell me how that's not copyright infringement, asshole. And I get you're trying to raise funds for stuff. But dude, this dude's a total fed. He's a handler helping you stay where you are. But you want to stay where you are too, Tom. You're the perpetual victim. You don't want the documentary made. You just want to say it's happening. It's always on the precipice. Tom, the edgelord. The guy that wants to live at the end of Act 2, but never start the beginning of Act 3. Total edgelord. And this is all you see. This article was originally published in June 19th, 2010. I wrote the screenplay that the Wachowski brothers used to create The Matrix, claiming it was the very same year, 1993. Oh, really, huh? Really? Because we got a few other guys here, including Mr. Philip K. Dick in 1977. I don't think that happened before that, huh? I wanted to bring up Ghost in the Shell wiki one more time. I really don't like using Wikipedia too much. But when there's so much evidence, like it's well vetted at this point. There's so many fans of this thing too that like if there's something incorrect, it's going to be corrected. Since anybody can edit Wikipedia. It's always been like that. It's never changed. It was like that back in 2000. Fifth graders. Me, if like a fifth grader in 2000, I'm showing my age here, in a computer lab, we were told don't use Wikipedia as a source for any of your work. And they gave us the reason because let's see here. See this little button here? It says edit. But it's telling me that my IP address is blocked from editing on Wikipedia. Okay. Actually, I've never tried to go and edit anything on Wikipedia, and I'm already blocked. Isn't that funny? But we got this here. '89 to 1990. But he'll refuse it up and down, you know? He'll just completely pretend like it's not there. But this dude, no bueno, no bueno. Just like I said about Carrie Cassidy, and you know, he's finding out now. And he's going to find out later that Penny Althouse, I did it again. Penny Althouse. Penny L.A. Shepherd. You should just marry her, dude. You two are peas in a pod together. But she's going to try to kill you, too, so I don't think that'd be a good idea. So stay far away from her. I'll continue to tell Tom to stay far away from Penny, but that's just going to make him go closer to her. I don't know what it is about people that just do the opposite of what people with good intentions are trying to tell others. It's like, don't dive into the boiling pit of lava, and they're like, fuck you, I love being hot, and then they jump right in head first. Like, that's like the situation here with Tom. I'm trying to help him, tell him, hey dude, this guy's making sure you're on a short leash. And same thing with this one calling herself Agent X11. Okay. And then Tom is going to ride this one Roseanne interview out like over the next 5 to 10 years. He's going to keep showing clips. He's going to keep saying about how this was like the best thing ever, but he's never going to follow up with her and do another one, you know. And, you know, if you're going to go out there, Tom, and try to book a second show with Roseanne just because I said so, that you would never do it just to prove me wrong, then, like, good for you, man. But, like, you're not going to do it anyways. Like, you're not going to do it. Okay? Because I doubt she's ever going to invite you back because she's just sitting there like, what the heck? Yeah, let's look at that picture of Yako. Man, you can't even see his pupils. Let's get a close-up of this guy. No, not buying it. Man, who was that wrestler that Hogan copied? Dang. I'm having a blank. Well, this doesn't work for me, brother. Yeah, in the world of art, though, there is always going to be borrowed concepts. And before Tom was even talking about, like, oh my God, the Wachowskis stole my idea, we had Mr. Philip K. Dick talking about how he believes this is the first time that anybody's ever talking about it, and he believes that we're living in a simulated reality. Which includes being told that the reality is not what he believes it to be by a woman with black hair. Man, so that was it that I wanted to cover today. I don't know. I could take a break and we can come back and chill for maybe another 20 minutes. In fact, I that is what I want to do because I do need to use the washroom. So give me a few minutes here and I'll be right back. We are back. So I did figure out the name of this dude. Are you ready? So, superstar Billy Graham. Hulk Hogan adopted his look and made it more popular than him. But Billy Graham says that he likes and enjoys that Hulk Hogan had success with taking the look. But ain't that something? And he still was wearing the look to this day. But yeah, you look at this. You look at this, and then you look. You look at. Oh man. I guess that's what I see when I see Michael Yako. There. There. Perfect. Look at that. And now also, I'm not making fun of the dude. Like what Tom was doing with the other stuff. And I know that I showed the Michigan J. Frog stuff, but that's like an eloquent way of describing the actions of Tom. That he's jumping from show to show and doing the same old song and dance. Where he had at first, he was mentioning that, what he, man, I'm losing my thought here. He was mentioning that people were saying that he was like a broken record, or that he always talks about the same stuff. And I was saying, well, yeah, it's because you're accurate, Tom. Like you have accuracy in your story, so it's gonna sound the same all the time. But now, I'm understanding what these people were getting at, but saying that he was always talking about the same stuff. It's like he's in an enclosed loop of topics that he's comfortable with, and that's all he's going to talk about. Cannot venture out from that. And that's what the same stuff is all about. The comment on him always saying the same stuff. Because if we go into, well, Minority Report, he loves talking about that because he thinks it's related to his sons. But Philip K. Dick, 77, talking about The Matrix. Nope, doesn't want to talk about that. Ghost in the Shell manga, released in 1989, which means it was being written in probably like even as early as 87. Again, Tom does not want to talk about that. Superstar Billy Graham, yeah, Tom definitely doesn't want to talk about that. He thinks wrestling is probably stupid. Also, I want to say something funny. Last year, it was April of 24, right? WrestleMania 40 happened while I was at Tom's, but I was able to watch it. And when Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were saying the showcase of the Immortals, that is the tagline of WrestleMania, the showcase of the Immortals. I thought it was so quaint that the showcase of the Immortals was happening while I was visiting Tom. And I watched it. I watched it because he was upstairs watching his own shit, okay? When he wasn't wanting to work, oh, I'm too tired. Like, he's going to say the same thing about me, but like, I was up early the first few days, and then when he was staying up until the afternoon upstairs, I was just like, whatever, man, I'm going to sleep in now. And I've already explained my whole situation with that. I was having to wear the earplugs because his son was slamming the garage door every morning when he left. So, who knows? And his son didn't want like anything to do with him. Like, again, we didn't sit down as like the three of us having a meal. Like, that never happened. But yeah, this guy came into Tom's life, I believe, like September, maybe. And now this is like directly connected to all of these conventions that he wants to go to, and like he's gotten Veronica from Code Breakers now all sniffing the smoke of that, because like there's too many things. There's too many things. There's false promises being made to Veronica, and you're going to be very disappointed in the future when these plans don't follow through the way that you expect them to. And it's just the way it is. And I know that you're probably going to watch this at some point, Veronica, but again, I think that was a really bad move on your part for excluding me from the conversation when he made his reappearance on your channel only due to watching this Let's Talk series. Ain't that something? How powerful that is? I'm sorry, Jay. Yeah, the showcase of the Immortals happened while I was visiting them. Like, you can't make that stuff up. I didn't plan it out that way either. It just happened. And when I told him about that, I'm like, hey, Tom, would you believe that WrestleMania is also referred to as the showcase of the Immortals? And he's like, oh. And then he just continued on doing whatever the fuck he was doing. So, like, again, Dark City. Never gonna hear Tom talk about that. And if he does, it's because he saw me speak about it right here, right now. Alright, let me get back up in the chat here. Because some of you guys said something earlier. So Jay Wild said, it's like he knows that certain people didn't really come up with stuff and he has them over a barrel. And I believe, Jay, you were talking about this dude. That this dude knows that certain people didn't come up with stuff that they're claiming. And so he's keeping them on a leash, you know? Simplest way to say that. He has them over a barrel. Yeah, Tom is essentially a fish in a barrel at this point, and this dude's overlooking that barrel. And he's, I don't know if he's hungry yet, but he's sure thirsty, so he's going to be removing some of that water on you, Tom, little by little. It's like the boiling frog. He's not going to realize what's happening until it's too late. And again, sorry for the frog reference, but it's true. And Zenray says, all my senses say stay away from Michael Yako. Yeah, and same thing here. This dude just does not sit well with me, especially on camera, because I've seen some of the video clips of him speaking, and like, total pompous guy. Like, I don't know if there's like anything genuine about him here. And Jay Wild said, my favorite wrestlers were Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Ho! And Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Yes, sir. Mine, I got introduced with the NWO era. This is Razor, but when he was Scott Hall, one of my favorite guys. And then, DDP, Hogan, obviously, Hollywood Hogan. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. I really think Kurt Hennig's last name is a Mandela effect because there's no N before the G now. It's just Hennig. And we were never pronouncing it that way. But, yeah, that was kind of cool. Talking about wrestling for a little bit. Eventually, I was like a fan of The Rock after WCW started going down a shitter with Russo. But then when Hogan vs. Rock happened, I wanted Hogan to win. Like, and he did, and I'm so happy he did. And then Jay said, I went to one WWF event, 7 years old in 1986. Yeah, I went to a house show, I believe in 99 or 2000. And I went to a Nitro taping around that same time. It's probably like within a few months of each other. And that Nitro show, they had the wrestlers like exit the ring and continue the brawl up into the staircases by the crowd, and they went kind of past us. We were in the middle section of the thing. But yeah, that was fun. That was when they had a black baseball cap that had the NWO logo on it, but it was also light up, so there's like a battery behind that you could turn on and off, and the logo would light up, and I still have that hat. I've never like worn it out in public. Not because I'm embarrassed of it, but because of I collected the thing. I was collecting all this different memorabilia at the time. Jason H said, I just watched a breakdown of Undertaker versus Mankind Cell match. That's awesome. It's a very iconic match. And see, pro wrestling it's an outlet for me. It's an escape. It's my form of entertainment. Like, I can't watch these TV shows today. Like, they're full of woke bullshit. I can't stomach it. Especially that The Last of Us, which I've never played the game, and I'd have no intention of watching the series. I've never watched Walking Dead. I know that the original creators of The Walking Dead were booted from the program like a few seasons in, if not after the first season. And yeah, there's not enough time to watch everything, so I'm very selective with what I do. I mean, just running this channel like takes up a bunch of time. We're going on 2 hours here. And setting up beforehand and then breaking down after, that's also extra time, but I'm not complaining. Jason H says, I think this stream might still be monetized. Yes, I think so. Because we did not show an entire chunk of a movie to like have you watch it for free and then not go seek it out on your own. That's not what we're doing here. We're critiquing and reviewing. So we had to resort to just having the still frame shots up so that we could discuss what the shots were about, like, and what they were representing in there. So yeah, Jason, I do think we'll be okay. But I do also have this recording of everything, so like even when it cut out, there's going to be a cut in the live feed with the replay, but with my copy, you're going to see me being like, oh, it went down. What happened? Okay, we'll wait here. Oh, it's back up. So that stuff I might keep it in if it's not too lengthy, but I normally just polish up the beginning and end of these streams and then leave everything in the middle uncut. Just because it's going to take too much time to cut out all the ums and pauses and stuff like I was doing before. It just consumed so much time. Over 320 clips of like 1 minute clips, like verticals, that I made from the Tom Althouse interviews of just the first like 2 interviews. Maybe I got to the 3rd one. I don't even remember anymore. And I was planning on making shorts from every interview. So imagine how many thousands of clips that Tom would have had out there in his favor that I hadn't gotten around to working on yet. Like, if you really were doing this for the memory of your sons, you would accept all the help that comes your way. I don't understand. I mean, obviously you are accepting all the help that comes along your way, especially if they look like this dude. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man, but I've said it before. But Michael Yako is handling Tom Althouse. Penny L.A. Shepherd is handling Tom Althouse. Tom does not want to progress forward, which is why there's no documentary. Like, he straight up told me to my face when I showed up, like, no, we're not doing it anymore. After I pay $80 for an additional carry-on luggage for the plane ride out there, and no, he didn't live 20 minutes from Houston. He's over an hour away from it. So, like, that was one lie that I was like, come on, man. And you're driving me back to your place with a blown muffler and a Mustang? That's not the engine making that noise. I can hardly hear you inside the cabin here. So just a bunch of shit. Whatever. Zenray said, Veronica is notorious for chasing money. That explains a lot of her actions. Caviar Dreams and Champagne Wishes. A documentary book movie would destroy Tom's reputation. All he has is his grift. Yeah. Yeah, imagine. Imagine me putting out a documentary about how I was treated by Tom. Wouldn't shine favorably upon him. But hey, you know, he doesn't want it to this day, Tom has not reached out to me since October. He'll run onto all of these female hosts' channels and run his mouth. But as far as talking man to man or man to boy, I don't know. He's not stepping forward. If there was a misunderstanding, he has no intention to clear the air. He just boxed me into the same category as his evil sister. Did your sister fucking interview you 22 times and get you on the John B. Wells show and helped you get on the Roseanne show through other hosts? Like, come on, man. People that watched my show here. Zen. I'll just say it right now. Zen is the one that got the Roseanne Barr show to go and happen. And I'm the one that got the John B. Wells shows to continue after the first one got deleted. It's like, we're coming on 7 years now. 7 years ago, Tom Althouse interviewed on John B. Wells. He never went back on. until last year when I gave Tom the phone number for him to call. It was John B. Wells' personal cell phone number. I found it. I gave it to Tom. Tom called it. Tom immediately got booked for the following week in March of 2024. And then he was invited back on a second time in April. And you could hear John B. Wells like trying to wrap his head around it. You're all here. You've seen these Tom Althouse interviews. The guests are just trying to make sense of all this. And I was doing this for 2.5 years, and I still couldn't get like a beginning to end like explanation from him. Well, what the heck went on? It's just, no, 2008, 1993, and 1999, and 2015, and the case, and I didn't lose my case, and I wrote The Matrix, and you lost your case. You did not write The Matrix. You wrote The Immortals. You don't have leathers and trench coats and Trinity running on the buildings in the first 10 pages. You don't have that, Tom. You cannot lay claim to that. That's called fraudulent claims. And you're venturing further and further into those depths, Tom. Including what you say about me now. And you think that you could just run your mouth like a narcissist does and think that there's no repercussions and act like nothing matters. Everything's minimalized. Sorry, bud. I'm here to stay. This show is going to go up on Odyssey. God bless you, Jay. So, like, what are you seeing with your second watch along, or second time around watching the interviews? So, Jay says he's on round 2 and currently on part 5 of my interviews with Tom Althouse. What are you noticing with those first few going on the second watch around? Like, what's standing out? Like, with me, I like looking at things and trying to recognize the patterns. And I was trying to, like, get Tom more comfortable about talking about things that he wouldn't talk about on other shows. But my direct questions were always answered unrelated to something else. So I would ask something specifically about like what happened to like Pat Robertson's stuff. Like he'd start going into the court case in like that happened 30 years after the fact of what I was asking about. Yeah, well, also Zen. Tom is single-handedly destroying his own reputation. Because you could see that I'm not this grandiose channel here. I don't have sponsors. I'm not in the Hollywood system. They tried to get me in there. A lot of people I went to school with at Columbia College Chicago ended up moving to LA. I didn't want to. I had no intention to. I wanted to build like like SNA, like Edison, like George Klein, like Gilbert Anderson. Build here at home in Chicago. But technically I'm not in Chicago. This is Niles, Illinois. There's also a Niles, Ohio, a Niles, Michigan, and I just found out yesterday, a Niles, California. I kid you not. I don't know how that happened. Like, which places were named first? That's what I want to find out. But there's not even hard evidence of the origin of the town I live in, of where the name came from. They want to say the Niles Register was like a newspaper, and that's what they named it based off of, but it kind of seems like a BS idea. But yeah, stuff like this, not allowed on my channel, apparently. But I'm not showing anything that's copywritten with that. And even with the stuff I was showing that, like, YouTube allows on other channels, I have no audio playing from the source. I'm stopping and starting it. I'm critiquing everything on it. Yeah, Jason. The Nile River was first. And I really, I like looking at these different concepts, like the Mississippi possibly being the original Nile River. It makes a lot of sense. But again, I'm just entertaining the idea. I love talking about ideas. And I don't like shooting down many of them. I mean, if there's legs not to stand on with some of this stuff, then I'm going to say, like, yeah, you know, like, maybe the concept's cool, but technically this wouldn't happen because A, B, and C. But I'm willing to entertain things that go against what's currently out there. Because we clearly don't know everything. And I'm not claiming to know everything here. We are very in the dark about a lot of what's going on in the world. Oh, and Tom claims that he does not believe we live in a matrix. So there's that too. Philip K. Dick believed we did. Tom never wanted to watch that clip with me that we watched here today. And I've brought it up on one of the interviews. And he did just brush it off. Oh, no, I've never heard of that. No. Well, it's been around since 1977, dude. Like, nobody showed you that? It's kind of lame. I guess they're not your friends then, are they? I try to call out the bad actors, and you're calling them your friends. And then you're saying that I'm trying to take all your friends away, and that's what a narcissist does. Yes, that is what a narcissist does, but I wasn't taking all your friends away. You surrounded yourself with handlers, and they got rid of all your other friends, and now just the handlers are left. So, of course, it's going to appear that way, that I'm trying to take all your friends away or some shit. But the reality is I'm trying to make you see that this guy and Penny L.A. Shepherd are handling you, dude. But you don't want to see it. So you're going to have to learn the hard way, and it's not my way. Like, I was trying to give you the easy way by just listening to what I had to say, but you don't want to hear any of it. You chose first to call me your Morpheus, that I saved you from the Matrix, and then you jumped right back in October 2024, back to the Matrix, Mr. Althouse. Yeah, you like gobbling the blue pill real good. In the Wachowskis universe, you took the blue pill. You woke back up in your bed and you believed whatever you want to believe. Michael Yako is just your friend. Penny Althouse is just your friend. Did it again, damn it. Penny L.A. Shepherd is just your friend. Like I said, like, you two are peas in a pod. One narcissist for the other, but she'll probably end up trying to kill you, like she tried to do with Brenda. But hey, he conflated that also, so he went around saying that I said he tried to poison me. No. I said Penny tried to poison Brenda, and then he went on a show in public and said that I made those claims. It's exhausting dealing with narcissists. I try to stay away from them as much as possible. It's hard to identify them. at times. It was very hard in the beginning to even identify them. But the word describes the behaviors, and really there's not much left to really say. Okay, Zen, yeah. Don't worry, I'm not going to show him again. Zen says, please stop showing Michael Yako's face. I truly get a visceral reaction. He is so clearly a handler, QFS and all. Yeah, so that, I won't show it again, but I'll read what the text says on that, because I think it's worth noting. It says, Michael Yako update today. The real creator of the Matrix that was stolen from him and his sons murdered. And that was March 15th of 2025. So he knows the buzzwords. If he says Matrix, if he says sons murdered, bam, 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 that's going to just blow up. When he's at these conventions, he says the buzzwords Neuralink and Elon Musk. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Zen. Yeah, see, we as, I don't know, there's some of us here, and there's not many. It may seem like there is, but there's really not that many. There's a lot more people who are plugged in with the blue pill, so to speak, and all that. But there's some of us that can read people, that can see people's auras, and we just know that there's nothing good. Like, we just get that gut feeling. Listen to your gut. Listen to your gut. All right, one more thing I'll show before we head out. I'll keep this under 2.5 hours. So, Tom Althouse's website. It's been up for at least 8 months. At least. No matchups. He said there's going to be a whole database. And it's never going to fucking happen. Sorry, hey, he's been talking about like this for years. It's never happened. I offered to make the website. He didn't take up the offer. I offered to make the documentary. I flew out to his house. He invited me there. And then he refused to make the documentary. He wanted to write a book. I said, okay. Then he refused that. He's like, no, it has to be 4 books. I said, okay. Then he dropped all that. We never talked about it again. But you see, he's using the Wachowskis' name here. He's not using the Immortals character name that he says is this character. He's piggybacking off the Wachowskis. The green. These leaves are supposed to be for awards given out at film festivals. And I bet you when Jane, Jill, whatever, built this for him, and she showed it to him, he's probably like, oh yeah, I like that. And you know I'm probably telling what actually happened. I have a very good knack for reading people's personalities. Tom's a clout chaser, everybody. Look at that. On the bottom, it says 1998 to 2025 Tom Alta. So he only goes back to 1998, which, oops. That's the same year as Dark City was released. And oops, Ghost in the Shell, 1989. Oh boy. Oh boy, don't show Tom this one. So I guess I'll say this much. Tom. if you find another script that just magically appears in your house and it's from 1989, you're going to have me on the floor laughing. All right? You're going to have me laughing. And I don't do all of this facetiously, you see? I offered my help, and I'm not reacting negatively because now that offer of help has been rejected, but that it was turned upside down on itself, you know? It's a lot different than what he's making it out to be. I tried to warn him. I really did. Yeah, Jay. Jay says he didn't count on your heart and intelligence. Thank you, Jay. And Jay also says I have some ideas but not comfortable expressing here. That's fine. Yeah, just email me. Oh, Jay also said he is back and forth being evasive and informative. And Jay also said, I think he needs your interviews to disappear in order to continue his plan. I believe so. I really do. I agree with that, Jay. He needs me and all of the interviews to disappear off the internet and of existence so that he can continue his grift. But that's not happening. I'm going to make sure that like all of this continues, the information continues to get out there. Like the way he treated me that day in October. Completely uncalled for, by the way. But he was planning for several weeks to cut me off at that point. And some of you in the chat here, especially, I think Zen mentioned that you could tell in part 22 that Tom was distancing himself already at that point. That day, that we did the part 22 interview, I was telling him, like, you better get your ass over here to do this interview. Like, you planned this with me. Like, why are you going to leave me hanging and all my 2,000 subs hanging? Like, that's not fair to any of us. Because we're taking the time out to listen to you and then you don't show. He double booked himself. He knew that we were scheduled to go live for the part 22. And he decided it was a good idea to not tell me that he needed to get his son's car fixed at Walmart and that it was going to overlap the start time of our show. So instead, he said, okay, I'll run back home. And he fucking ran. I guess he ran back home like over a mile away. I didn't ask him to do that, by the way. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you telling me you're going to be here and then you're doing something else? And if something else came up, why didn't you just tell me instead of a half hour before we're supposed to go on? And then you're running back home because, like, you were worried about your reputation, I guess. But, like, you were clearly done with me at that point, and you were trying to blow off the whole interview process. That was the beginning of it. And then, yeah, the following 3 weeks, I think we spaced it out to where it would be like 2 weeks from that part 22. He had to reschedule. So I'm like, okay. And then I guess we never rescheduled. I assumed the next weekend was when we were going to do it. And then he said, no, like, how we never planned this, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, let's plan for the following week. And then that's when all that stuff happened. Part 23 I made. But also I don't know. I made the Zoom at 7 a.m. and those things should go out to the guests if you tag them in there. But I'm not using Zoom anymore. I'm on OBS. We're going to get something different going here with the interviews. Like, I need to use a different video host to get the stream in here so that I could see them, but then I'll hear them. Like, I'm thinking I'll use Discord to get them for the audio in here. Oh, no worries, Zen. It's all good. Let me catch up on here. Zen says he had to start distancing himself from you because you flew down there to do a documentary on him. That would blow his whole entire grift. You're not really ranting, man. Share your thoughts. I mean, that's what we're here for. I'm not going to tell you, no, don't do that. I mean, you all know not to swear or not to talk about that stuff from 5 years ago. And that's really all this platform cares about, and the content showing it in its entirety without any commentary. Like, we're commentating on stuff today, but they weren't happy with that. What else am I supposed to do? Slap the Y logo over? Like, I guess that's what I'll have to do. Like what I did with yesterday's show with the Chicago film industry. I slapped the Y logo over the what was it, the Gilbert Anderson short, and I misspoke. I called him George, but it's Gilbert Anderson. The haunted something, the haunted couch, the haunted palace, whatever it was. But yeah, it was just that was wild today. Getting censored here, but it's fine. It came back on. They were basically telling me, hey, like, you shouldn't be doing this. But they straight up cut the stream off. Like, that's shocking to me. But we were able to come back. We were able to cover everything I wanted to here for today. We got Dark City, Ghost in the Shell, Tom's website, and Philip K. Dick talking in 1977 about the Matrix. So with all that in mind, how much less do we believe Tom today? Because it's getting to that point. And also, I did say, I think on the last Let's Talk, that I was feeling some pity for this dude if he has these medical conditions that are causing him to do these things and act in a circular manner, or that's all he just doesn't. There's no new input. He's not adding anything new. Like, he's talking Game of Thrones or Man in the High Castle. Those are all old and done with. Yeah, The Matrix is all old and done with too, but like, he doesn't talk about the new one. Doesn't matter though, because we can see where his priorities lie. It's in Florida with Michael Yako doing a conference. And that's exactly where Veronica wants to go. So, of course, cut me out if Tom asks to. What am I to do? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep on going. So I'm here. And I'm staying here. And you'll see in the description of this video and every other video where you can find me on Rumble, on BitChute, on Odyssey, on Brighteon, TikTok, Instagram. I don't have my Facebook links up in the description, but I'm out on Facebook. You can find me there. I'm not using an anonymous name, as Tom has been falsely claiming. Everything I do is Yissilmissil Steven Yissel. It's just unfortunate. Twitter, I have my Yissilmissil account. I also have another account. I'm not going to share it here though, because it's so I can stay under the radar. And guess what? I'm not talking about Tom on that one. Okay? I'm more so giving my opinion on world events without having it linked back to me so that people can cancel me later on. Okay? That's why. I want to participate in the conversation of world politics without being chastised. that okay? No one's allowed to have anonymous names? Okay, okay. But no, Tom was saying I'm an anonymous, a D-list player. Like, holy shit, dude. Holy shit. Man, you got that mixed up. The people that took all your time away from me while I was visiting you in person, those are the ones you need to worry about and question. But you're not going to take it from me, so don't worry about that. When the time comes, when Penny goes and betrays you, when Michael Yako betrays you, don't say that I didn't warn you. Because I tried my best here. But Tom is too concerned about remaining a perpetual victim. And like I said earlier, he's on the precipice always, right? Oh, just wait until the documentary. Just wait until the website. He's saying the website has the matchups on it. We looked at it. There's nothing on it. Under construction for the past 8 months. What's the person been doing? Nothing. They have not done a thing for Tom with that. What has Penny done for Tom besides putting him on her own show? These are questions to ponder. Throughout time and space, beyond the energy grid, beyond the matrix, Tom, you need to wake up. That's all I have to say. And if you know what you're doing, karma's gonna come back and bite you in the ass. That's all I gotta say. I feel like ending it here. So, thanks everyone. I really appreciate y'all being here. I did say I was gonna show some of the intros for the new shows, but I kind of want to keep it a surprise. I'm gonna be doing new deep dives in addition to the ones I'm currently doing. One on fiat currency. One on the Great Lakes Triangle, and one on Gravity Hills. And that's going to fill my entire schedule up. Every single day I'm going to be having a show to do unless I double up shows on a day. But I have thumbnails all set for those, and also the Hollywood Detox. So that would actually be 8, right? That'd be 8 shows, so I would have to double up on something. So we did see the Hollywood Detox thing. So yeah, I have all those shows, and you guys can go and watch those at any time. I'm trying to update the playlists so that you have all of the edited versions of the live streams. So like it's cleaned up at the beginning and end. Any audio issues that happened, they're cut out so that it starts right away. And so I'm just trying to be more efficient with it. And this whole setup is going to continue to evolve as I learn OBS more. Like I'll be able to do fade-ins and fade-outs more. I won't be moving this stuff around manually like this. I'll have proper transitions. So it's just all a learning process here for me. Just working on an independent, free video streaming I guess, program you'd call it. So, yeah, next time I will be live is on Tuesday, and I hope to see you all there. It'll be a continuation of the Coral Castle Deep Dive series with reading from The Energy Grid by Bruce Cathy. And that's a mind bender in itself. I love that stuff. And I'm absorbing it like a sponge. So we got that. The Bermuda Triangle show on Thursday. Perhaps a premiere of the Great Lakes Triangle show on Friday. I'm going to try to introduce this stuff gradually through next month. But I do want to have at least part 1 of all these new shows up by the end of June, which I think is a very easy accomplishment. So as long as I think I'm going to pace myself with 1 new show every week, and that'll expand it out. But it is taking a lot of time for me to put this all together and research and trying to understand what direction I want to take some of these deep dives. Like, how deep you want to dive. Let's see how far this goes. And I really think the Hollywood Detox will be an excellent series. And the Chicago film industry one, that has a definite end. But I'm really happy with the trajectory of that one. Awesome, Zen. Yeah, he's saying so excited about the Great Lakes series. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be really good. And I have all of these different shipwreck books, too, that I picked up last year in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So, that's going to be pretty fascinating, too, to incorporate all of that into this stuff. I'll find a place to fit them somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle or the Great Lakes Triangle, or even with the Coral Castle stuff, because we're getting into energy grids, and that falls in line with the triangle stuff. But it's easier to keep them all separated for the different topics. And I give a different feel for every show. So, these Let's Talks, this blue background is for this show. And I introduced a new background for the Coral Castle. It's the green circles going around. So every show is going to have a different look, but they'll all be consistent, and they'll all have their intros and outros, and you'll see me here, and I'll be presenting stuff, reading stuff, giving my opinion on the things while we read it. And I really think it's going to be fun, because this is the stuff that I enjoy doing. And I want to share it with all of you. Is that too much to ask? So that's it. That's it for today. I really appreciate you all being here. And Tuesday I'll be live again. And I'll probably have another Let's Talk on Sunday. I know I skipped last week, but I felt I needed more time to process what's been going on. And I really was exhausted from going through the footage that we did go through on the past few shows here on Let's Talk. So I thank you all for your patience. And I do see that you guys are watching and liking and sharing. I get reports every week from YouTube giving me the numbers. And it's a good thing. It's consistent. But ultimately, it's not about the numbers. It's about the content. And the numbers will come in time. The numbers will come through later. And, it's just how it is. And one of these things will pop off and go viral, and then I'll have all the views I want. And I just won't have to worry about it. So, in my mind, it's already happened. Since everything's all happening at once, the past, present, future, and all that, if you want to think of it that way. My channel's already that big channel that everyone is striving to have on this platform. But I don't need anything bigger than what I can manage over here. Like a 2 million subscriber channel, that'd be awesome. But you know how many trolls would be on that? And how many are bots and how many are real people? I'd rather have a small group of you guys and gals that are real here just shooting the shit here with me. I really enjoy doing that. But okay, enough's enough. We've gone on too long. I don't want this to go to 3 hours. So thank you all for being here. And try to catch me on my next lives. And if not, I will see you at some other point. And until the next one. Class dismissed.